Guys, welcome back. Hope you're all doing very well. First of all, I would like to thank you guys for 582 subscribers as a recording of this YouTube video. I really much appreciate it, and remember that if you do enjoy the content, please hit the sub button, help reach that 1k goal. So, today we have a guide for you guys again. Now, this is one I never thought I would actually make because familiars are such a small part of the game that, you know, it really didn't strike me as something that would need a guide, but here we are. You guys have been asking for familiar guides, so this is exactly what we're gonna do. Now, just a real quick note, if you want to call it that. Okay, so we got a new few summons here, by the way. What is that? Guaranteed every single day? Oh no, step 10 guarantees a 5-star. Well, I wouldn't mind to get Shuhei, but anyway, so just a quick note here. I did see what the end of month banner is, and it is exactly what I thought it was going to be, but the only thing is just, you know, I'm going to tell you guys what it is, if you guys haven't seen what it is already, but it is, if you want to call it the Sunflower Outfit Mayuri, that one where he just radiates light in the Fuzzy Blood War, that one, and then a Zombie Toshiro, and this one baffles me. Zombie Rangiku. What did she do? What do we know of her abilities as a zombified Rangiku? Because if I'm not mistaken, she got off screen by some random people. So the fact that we get a zombie Rangiku before we get a proper version of, let's say, Bankai Rose or Bankai Kensei, you know, or those type of things really annoys me. I don't know why they would make a zombified version of Rangiku. The problem is, you know, if you want to make a zombified version of Rangiku, fair enough. It's just the thing is, we have a swimsuit version of her. This one. Which is a phenomenally good character. She is really, really good. So, she's going to need to be extremely strong to best this Rangiku, to use a zombified Rangiku over her. You know, we have another version of Rangiku on Technique. I don't think I have her. Let's just quickly check. But I don't think I have her. Oh, I do. There we go. This one. Also extremely strong. Really good character to have. She is a very, very strong character to have, in fact. Actually, she has a lot of nice stuff to her. You know, so for me to see we get a zombified Rangiku before we get, you know, other units that desperately need some new units is very silly. Okay, but anyways, let's get into the familiars. What is a familiar? Well, this is a familiar. This little guy right here, you can see Byakuya down here chilling. Okay, this is a familiar. Now, if you go to your sub menu and you go to your, I think it was inventory? I haven't done this in a while. You go to characters, familiars, there's your familiars, okay? So once again, if you go to your sub menu, you go to inventory, and then on the top you'll choose between items and characters. You choose characters, and then here will be your familiars. Okay, now these are all the familiars I own, and then these are of course the ones I have completely maxed out. This is your familiar materials, etc, etc. So let's go over that real quick. What is a familiar? Well, a familiar is basically a chibi version of, well, most enemies, every single raid encounter. Now, raid encounters are in the co-op screen epic raids. Okay, let me get rid of some units here, as I normally would always. Let me just sell a bunch. Multi-select. There we go. Because I don't really play the game, I tend to stock up a lot of these units from free pools and stuff like that. So that is why. Oh, by the way, for the guy who asked me why do I have so much inventory slots, it's a waste of orbs, how can I ever do that, I'm a disgrace. It is for my accessories, of course. It is because they are very cheap to buy, that is why I have that many. And you needed a lot of them to level up your other accessories if you don't have a reliable source of hearts to level up your accessories, so that is why. I have reached the cap on my accessory slots quite a few times actually in the past, so yeah. So anyways, co-op, epic raids. Here you will see the current active epic raid. Okay, currently it is Kenpachi Zaraki, which is great. He has a nice trait to him. Now, excuse me, give me a second. So I guess this will be a raid guide as well as a chibi guide, familiar guide, because they kind of go hand in hand. If I'm going to be explaining the mechanics of getting your familiar up, it's also the same as a raid. Now, as you can see, currently we have just Kenpachi Zaraki. When he goes away, his awakened raid will come in. So 2 days, normal Kenpachi will go away, and then the more difficult version of him will come in as well. And then the medal exchange will change too. There's 2 types of medals. This is normally the medals that you would use on, or you would get from having the normal Kenpachi raid, is these types of medals. And then when a awakened version comes in, let's just go down to Kenpachi. If I can find him, he should be right around here. There we go. The awakened version, of course, has these medals. So different medals for different raid styles. So as you can see here from the raid rewards, the normal version, you can buy the Kenpachi familiar, which has Berserker 10% on it. Really, really good. I did not know he was in, otherwise I would have farmed this. But anyway, so this is where you buy your familiar, okay? Then you will need to buy these rainbow ones as well, the Kenpachi Spirit Rainbows, okay? Then, because, let me just go back to this, because the rainbow ones you cannot earn in the raid itself. Just keep that in mind. Rainbow spirits you cannot earn in the raid. Okay. Then, heart, power, speed, technique, and mind. You can earn these in the raid. If you, let's say, just as an example, if you do a speed raid, so in other words, you bring in your blue units for the raid. So in other words, here, when it says technique only, it's gonna say something like speed only, like over here. Okay, speed only. You're gonna be getting the color on the left when it comes to the spirits. So if you bring in speed only, you're gonna get power spirits for your familiar. If it says mind only, you're gonna get heart. If it says heart only, you're gonna, okay, so you get the gist of it. It's basically the same as like potion farming. You farm whatever color is your opposite. If you guys don't know what the opposite colors are, this is a really easy way to actually get to know it, because it says technique only, you're going up against blue, so that's why technique is in there. It is good against speed. Power only is good against technique, etc, etc. So just remember that. Okay, anyways, let's go back to the medal exchange. So like I said, you will need to do the raid actually, and do it quite a few times to get a lot of these spirits. So once you've actually done this, you are going to need to either, well, not either, you will need to wait for the awakened version to come out, because yeah, you get the awakening spirit, which will allow you to further enhance your little chibi. Now, I'm just going to call it chibis. Familiar chibis, same thing. You'll need these rainbows as well, and then you can buy more of the spirits. Now, just a side note that if you do miss out on the normal raid, it's not the end of the world in terms of the rewards here, because you can actually convert these medals into the previous medals. Where was that? Maybe you can't do it anymore. Hang on, let me check, let me investigate. I don't think you can anymore. Interesting, interesting. Okay, anyways, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. Now, there is a slight little caveat to everything here. To actually be able to get your chibi all the way leveled, okay, you're gonna need to do some of the event stuff here. Where is it? Fisher orders, okay. So as you can see, you have the whole clear Kenpachi here. As you can see, very hard, blah blah blah. Okay, these things. Clear the raid on this, clear the raid on this, and this. Okay, so when the new version of him comes out, the more difficult version, if you will, you'll need to complete the raid again. So when the awakened version comes out, you'll see this again, and then you need to complete both difficulties, same as with this one. Every single one of these difficulties here, heart only, mind only, speed only, you know, all of those. You need to complete them at least once on very hard and ultimate. You cannot just skip very hard and go to ultimate, because you're not going to be ticking all the marks for your chibi, unfortunately. So you will need to go ahead and do both of them, both difficulties on every single one of the attributes. Same goes for the awakened raid, so please just bear that in mind, that you will need to do that. Okay, so let's say you've done all that, you got all your stuff. Okay, you have all your goodies to level up your chibi. Okay, so then we're gonna go to sub-menu again, and we're gonna go to inventory. We're gonna go to familiars, and we're gonna, let's just for instance use, well, let's use Renji. He doesn't have a lot of screen time anyways, so we'll give him some. Actually no, let's use Byakuya, because I actually got a really good one. So you will click on your chibi, and then you will go to familiar, and you will go to familiar details. Okay, so as you can see here, you can choose between two appearances once you have it maxed out, because it goes to 150%, etc. Okay, so the chibi's skill tree is actually quite large, and you will need a lot of the spirit to actually level them up. You'll need a lot of the rainbows, which you will need to buy out of the raid shop, like I told you guys. And then once you have everything, you can eventually max out your chibi. And remember, this is an absolute crucial part. You need to do every single attribute, both difficulties, for both the normal raid and the awakened raid. There is no in between. If you miss one of them, you will not be able to max out your chibi. Just remember that. I have a few chibis which I couldn't max out because I didn't do all the difficulties, or I missed the attribute because I just didn't want to log in, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so these skills, these stat bonuses, etc., etc., are only active in the epic raids. You do not get these in normal gameplay. Your little familiar chibi, whatever you want to call it, is not a stat booster for normal gameplay. It is only in epic raids. There is no exception to this rule. These stuff, all these stats, only apply in epic raids. Now, you can reroll. Every single familiar will have these two slots when you do maxed out, etc., that you can reroll into new skills that will benefit your character. As you can see, my Byakuya chibi familiar has Berserker 10% and another Berserker 10%. And then of course his innate soul trait is Sea Traps. Now normally when you do a raid, you will see that sometimes they have traps. Well, you won't see it because initially you won't have the chibi for it or familiar. But normally what you would require to do the raid easier is bound to your familiar, or whatever familiar it is. For instance, if the raid was still Byakuya, because he placed traps on the ground, his familiar, as you can see here, allows you to see the traps. So then in future when you do run any trap based epic raid, you can just put on Byakuya and then you can see it. There is certain familiars that allow you to do bonus shield damage. Some epic raid bosses have a little bit of a mechanic to it where they would charge up an attack and you need to do damage to the shield that they have around them to actually kill them. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much damage you actually do your character itself. It could do 10 billion damage in a normal game. If a shield damage is 1, you're going to be hitting it for 1. So that is also mechanic. Then you have extreme knockback raids. You see, then you get knockback resistance on certain chibis. You get, there's certain stuff like, you can see, what was it? Knockback resistance, pull resistance. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it, but just know that at the end of the day, normally your counter to the boss's shenanigans would be his own chibi or her own chibi, depending on what is what, you know? So just keep that in mind. Now, real quick, let's go back to the epic raids. Now, you will see when you want to do epic raids, normally when you click on very hard and you click on join a room, there's not going to be anybody. You know, it's just one of those things. So just keep that in mind, that very hard isn't farmed often. So when a new raid comes out, try to get your very hards done on your attributes very quickly, because people would normally just do them once and then forget about it, because that's how it works. Ultimate will be farmed. Sometimes you can get people that use less than ethical methods to actually farm, meaning that they kind of mess around with the game files, they mod it. So of course it will say mod bonus, you know, those type of things if you want to join those rooms. Normally they are on a macro, so they just auto the whole time, they get it done, you know, set it up again, blah blah blah. But then sometimes you will see stuff like bonus, please. This guy just doesn't have any rules, so you can join with anybody pretty much. It's basically good etiquette for any raid to have either a potion unit that you bring in, or a unit that gives you bonus. So bonus means if you click on let's say a color here, as you can see here, and you click on this little icon, you will see what units have much more damage and give more medals on completion. Now this does reach a cap in game. You can't just have 800% bonus medals or 700%, 600%, whatever the case may be. So there is a cap to it eventually, but it is good etiquette to always bring a bonus unit with you. So for instance, when you look at, okay, they actually have a lot of bonus units. Let's say, yeah. Okay, so we are on green currently, so a good unit to bring in out of all of these right here when it comes to green units would be somebody like Halibel or Ryu, above Yukio and Tanjiro. And the reason for that is, yeah, they all give 25% bonus medals, all have double damage, but the thing is, these two give potions as well. So it's better etiquette to bring units like this in above anything else. Same thing goes for these units right here. You know, if you have a Izuru and a Kisuke over here, it's better to always choose the Kisuke over the Izuru over here, because the fact that he does give bonus potions. So just, you know, be nice, bring in units that benefit. And then when it comes to these, normally people wouldn't have any issues if you bring in these type of units, because they give a lot of medals, they give a lot of bonus damage, so the raid goes quite quickly. But sometimes people will just straight up ask for only potions, and then you can't bring in these units. You will get booted if they're going to give you any bonus potions. So just keep that in mind. Of course, I know he gives potions, she gives potions, you know, so, but yeah. Let's say, for instance, he says potions only, and you bring in somebody like Kojiro over here, you're gonna get yeeted because he doesn't give potions, so just keep that in mind. So let's quickly do a very hard, actually no, hang on, let's go back to the familiars. So when you go to set up your character, you will see you have an extra tab here compared to normal gameplay. Normal gameplay, you only have accessories and character links, okay? But here you actually have an extra tab called familiars, and this is where you can put in your familiars. Now, as you can see, I actually have a little bit of a benefit when it comes to my stats due to my familiars aiding me. I have a 1100 bonus HP, got a little bit more attack, more SP, you know, that type of thing. Now, I'm gonna be real here. When it comes to familiars, the best thing you can have, and I do mean this, the best thing that you can have at all times when you, well, not at all times, sometimes you'll use NAD units, very rarely though, but sometimes you will, is having a Kenpachi and a Toshiro, because they give you Berserker. 10% as the intrinsic trait. So Toshiro up here where it says locked, where DC have like C traps, shield damage, knockback resistance, yeah, those type of things. Kenpachi gives you Berserker 10%, Toshiro gives you Berserker 10% as well. So they can each individually give you 30% bonus Berserker if you get lucky with your rerolls, 60% with Toshiro with Kenpachi, and then if you have another Toshiro or Kenpachi, I think you can equip duplicates, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen people do it, but maybe they changed that. Yeah, so in other words, you want something like Berserker 10%, 10%. Or if you are running NADs, of course it would be Bruiser 10%, 10%. If you are really confident in your skills and to not get hit in the raid or anything like that, yes, full stam NAM is definitely an option you can run with, but I wouldn't really recommend it because the raid sometimes has some really funky mechanics and just does not work well. Unless you can, of course, heal yourself with like Ichigo, then yeah, go for it. So we're just gonna quickly run this. I'm just gonna show you guys how raids work. We'll switch over to Grammy because he will absolutely annihilate this raid. So we'll just take off Grammy from the links. Last time I did raid, actually Gigi was part of the bonus unit, so yeah. So I know she has bonus damage, he has bonus damage, but my yeah, Grammy is a lot stronger. And let's see what accessories can I run on him. Do I have a Quincy 50% SB? Do I? I don't think I do, no. I do not. Okay, so we'll run them like that, it's fine. You know, I want a little bit more nuke damage, so that's completely fine. Do I have a Quincy Cross though? I would like to use Quincy Cross over... Yeah, I do, but it's not rolled, so eh. You know what, that's fine. This will be more than enough for a normal raid. And then on this, let's just get a good link for him. Who would I link? Let's see on the Resurrectables. I think I did this Eisen. If I can remember correctly. Yeah, we'll run it like that. That's fine. No issues there. So as you can see, my stats are actually quite high. Okay, so they do an additive version now of the stats, which is a little bit odd. Well, for my eyes, it's a little bit odd, but yeah. So as you can see, stats are very, very high. This is gonna be completely overkill. I'm gonna annihilate Kenpachi. So we'll just create a room and we'll go in solo. Unless there's some weird mechanic, when unknown errors occur, that's fine. We'll just create it again. Unknown errors occur, create room. Okay. Game, do you want me to make a room or not? Hang on, let me just leave the epic raid screen for a second. This game, man. Why are you unhappy, game? Why can I not launch my own room? Create a room? Let's try this again. Okay. What the hell? Can I just save my set, please? Okay. Can we then load the set? Maybe it's the set that is bothering it. I'm trying to show you guys how to do this, and then the game's just like, nah. Why? Why can I not make a room? Hello? Ask can only speedrun. This guy is, you know, yeah, one of those guys. Okay, I'm gonna try 2 or 3 more times. Why does it not want me to make a room? That's so weird. Actually, give me a second. Let me try something. So I've restarted my game, so we'll see if that actually helped or not. No, I don't want to cancel that. Thank you very much. Let's go back to co-op. Okay, let's try this again. I want to show you guys how a raid actually looks if you haven't done it, you know, that type of thing. So let's see if it's still gonna error me. Hey, okay, there we go. Don't know what the hell happened there. Okay, so this is the raid screen basically. Now, when you try to join a room on the ultimate difficulty, you're gonna get the room is full a lot. Okay, people join their stuff really quickly to leech and stuff like that. So just be aware that most of the time you will not be able to just instantly join a room unless you're very lucky. You will need to retry. The game is not bugged. Everybody else is just a lot quicker. So yeah. So this is how the raid screen looks. When you are joining a raid, of course, you'll have many other people here. You'll have 5 other people here preferably, if you are in a full team, and they will give you your bonuses on medals, etc, etc. As you can see here, my connection is really bad to this game, but I think most people's connections are. So yeah, we're gonna start the quest. You can also use 5 times tickets, but the thing is you need to complete the difficulty first before you can use 5 times tickets. Now that applies to every single attribute. Once again, you need to complete every single attribute on every single difficulty. Okay, so we are gonna start the raid. I haven't done a raid in months, man. Very long. Yeah, so he looks like he's gonna make the floor disappear. I do not like that. Okay, so we're just gonna completely try and wreck him real quick. Okay, he's gonna push me away. Gonna do some AoEs, it's fine. I wanna get my 80% SP proc before I actually use my ultimate on him. If I could get a status element proc, that would be a real nice game. There we go. And I'm gonna use my... Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, raids are not really that difficult. It is difficult. Look, you're not going to be walking in here with a 6-star character and just wiping the floor with him. You need to actually have a pretty strong unit. So yeah, that's how a raid looks. Now, here's the reward screen. Okay. As you can see, got some goodies here. This is the spirits I was talking about. Every single time and for every single ticket you clear the raid, you will get spirits. Of course, you get more of them on the ultimate difficulty and tickets as these medals as well. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, so that is how raids work. Basically, always complete every single difficulty for every single attribute to get the most out of your raids. From, I would say, do every single attribute on the most difficult difficulty at least 10 times to make sure you have enough spirits to fully level up your familiar. And then the same goes for the awakened version of the raid. Remember, the awakened version of the raid is going to be significantly difficult, more difficult than the normal version. I'm not talking about a power spike where you're not going to be doing absolutely anything. It is just a bump in difficulty that the units, or rather the raid character, is popping off a lot more. They do a lot more things a lot quicker, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, so the familiars itself, like I said, they are useful, but only for the raids. Once you do actually get them to a certain point in their skill trees, you gain the ability to also put them on as your little follow around buddy. So like I said, I have Byakuya. I just find it funny that Byakuya is following me around. It's kind of silly, but I like the fact that he's following me around, and I like Byakuya more than Renji. But if you do have your characters to a certain point, your chibis, your familiars, you can then just say equip, as you can see on the top here, and they will follow you around. As you can see, I cannot select Bambietta. I would love to have actually selected Bambietta, as she is one of my favorite Femritas. I think she is my favorite Femrita actually. But yeah, so that is how familiars work. That is how raids work. I don't think I can explain it more perfectly than I did. Raids is a thing that is very much dead in the game now because we have different ways to farm potions. Back in the day, a few years ago actually, this was the only way you could reliably farm potions, and a lot of them. So you would spend a lot of times in the raid screen just sitting there refreshing, hoping you can join a room and hoping a modder pops up, because we didn't have these types of units that just nuked the raid bosses, you know. So we had to actually hope for modders, otherwise it was going to be a hell of a long struggle to actually get the raid done. Yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope that you all have a good day. I hope that your information that you wanted was given to you in this video. If you are still unclear about something, please let me know. But like I said, remember that if you do complete all the attributes, all the colors, all the difficulties on both the raids, remember it needs to be both. A familiar doesn't get maxed out in one raid, it gets maxed out on the normal and the awakening version of a raid. You need to go to your orders and claim it as well, by the way. You need to go to your event and claim these. On the awakened version there will be different stuff that you can claim. That is very much necessary for you to further increase your chibis or familiars skill tree. So just remember that you need to come and claim these things out of the event once you've done both the difficulties on all the attributes. So please just keep that in mind. I'm making that very clear because I think a lot of people are going to get lost in that. You need to clear every single attribute on all the difficulties for both raids. A familiar is leveled up and maxed out over the span of basically 2 months when it comes to the raids. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, hope you all have a great Wednesday, and I will see you all again in the next one. Have a good one, and peace out.